This is the AHSAA Weekly, your inside look at everything happening with the Alabama High School Athletic Association, presented by America's First Federal Credit Union. I'm John Holder. Coming up on this week's program, we will preview not one but two games that we'll have for you on WOTM with our AHSAA Games of the Week this week. First, we've got the number 1 versus number 2 matchup in Class 7A between Hoover and Thompson. Hoover head coach Josh Niblett, Thompson head coach Mark Freeman will join us this week to preview that game. And we also have another game that you'll see here on WOTM in Class 2A, a battle between B.B. Comer of Sylacauga hosting Clark County of Grove Hill. The head coaches of both of those teams join us as well. Adam Fawcett of B.B. Comer and also Stacy Luker of Clark County High School in Grove Hill. Plus, we will have brackets this week from the playoff games from last week, and we will have David Holzford's highlights of playoff games from all across the state of Alabama. All of that and more on this week's edition of the AHSAA Weekly, presented by America's First Federal Credit Union.
Every bank has their own app, but it's just that, theirs. At AmFirst, our app was made for you, so you can personalize your dashboard, pay your bills, and redeem points for rewards you'll love. Get the app made for you at AmFirst.
Coming up here live Friday night on WOTM, the AHSAA Game of the Week is a huge monster matchup in the 7A semifinals, the North Alabama Championship game of Class 7A. It is a rematch from a regular season game. Number 1 versus number 2. Number 1 Hoover, number 2 Thompson. Thompson, the 2A or the two-time defending state champion in Class 7A. We welcome now the head coach of the Thompson Warriors, Coach Mark Freeman, with us. Coach Freeman, glad to have you with us. Tell us about this monster matchup coming up with a big rival in a rematch in the Hoover Bucks.
Well, it'll be a great game. You know, it's always this time of year. We come down, us and Hoover, for several years now, and it's always a great game. And we got to go there and play the best game we played all season, have a chance to win the game.
Coach, tell us about some of the outstanding talent you have on this Thompson team. Who can folks look for that are going to be leaders for your team in the game coming up on Friday night against Hoover?
Well, defensively, there's several of them over there. Peter Woods, Jeremiah Alexander, Jack Van Zant, Nate Riddle, the DBs, Traquan Fagan, Tony Mitchell, several players on defense. Offensively, Jalen Ward is one of our wideouts, had a great season. Ryan Pepins is a slot player for us that does a lot of things. Justin Pegues, Brandon Franklin, our running backs. Connor Harrell, obviously, and Zach Sims, our 2 quarterbacks.
Coach, just a tremendous matchup, one of the best games in high school football, probably in the country this year, coming up with a lot on the line at the Hoover Met on Friday night. Thank you for joining us here on the AHSAA Weekly. Coach Mark Freeman, head coach of the Thompson Warriors, Thompson and Hoover, live Friday night here on WOTM.
Looking for a perfect checking account? Don't waste your time. No minimum balance, no monthly fees, and a convenient app. Now, you could try and find that at a bank, or you could save yourself the trouble by checking with us.
We are back on the AHSAA Weekly. We are previewing this great matchup we have coming up on the AHSAA Game of the Week on WOTM on Friday night. Number 1 Hoover, number 2 Thompson from the Hoover Met. We're joined now by the head coach of the Hoover Buccaneers, Coach Josh Niblett. Coach Niblett, thank you for joining us here on the AHSAA Weekly.
Thanks, John. I appreciate you guys having us on.
Coach, there's so many storylines in this game. A rematch. It's the state semifinals in 7A. Trip to the state championship game on the line. Number 1 versus number 2. Backyard neighborhood rivals. Just your thoughts and impressions of this game coming up Friday night.
Well, we're going to have to play our best game. We're going to have to do a really good job, make sure we execute fundamentals of football. And, we got to block and tackle, and we get opportunity to make plays. We got to make plays. We got to find ways to get some takeaways. Got to take care of the football, be good in the red zone, and then play good on special teams. So we do that, and we'll have a chance. We'll give ourselves an opportunity like we did last time. And so, we just got to make the most of it. And I think the biggest thing for us is just staying locked in on what we're doing and not worry about all the noise about rematch and all that kind of stuff. So we're just trying to stay focused on what we're doing.
Coaches, folks tune in around the state of Alabama to this game. What are some of the guys that for Hoover that have been standing out for you all year long? Who can folks around the state look for to kind of lead this football team on Friday night?
Well, offensively, it starts with our quarterback, Bennett Meredith. And, R.J. Hamilton's a guy that was out for the first 8 games and then came back, and he's been electric and played really, really well. Amari Williams, at running back. And, we've got 5 guys up front that we feel like we've got, that do a good job of playing physical. And then, out on the perimeter, KJ Laws had a great year, and Cotton Peters, and then Jabari Gaines and Sky Niblett have done really well for us at tight end. Then on the defensive side of the ball, it starts up front with us with, Marcus Clark and Andrew Parrish inside, and then Corey Warren and Terrell Jones on the outside. Ashton Taylor and Josh Carter have been playing well. And then on the back end, guys like Dale Miller and Jacob Finley, and Jay Avery, and DJ Estes, those guys have got to play well for us this week. And Peyton Argent, and Carter Milliron are 2 specialist guys, deep snapper and kicker, and those guys have done a really, really good job also.
Coach Niblett, thank you for spending time with us. We're looking forward to seeing your football team here on the AHSAA Game of the Week coming up on Friday night at your place against Thompson. Thank you for spending time with us this week.
Thanks, John. God bless you. Go Bucks.
Josh Niblett, head coach of the #1 ranked Hoover Buccaneers, getting ready for Thompson coming up in the 7A semifinals Friday night here on WOTM.
Every bank has their own app, but it's just that, theirs. At AmFirst, our app was made for you, so you can personalize your dashboard, pay your bills, and redeem points for rewards you'll love. Get the app made for you at AmFirst.
Continuing to preview now this big Class 2A quarterfinal round matchup coming up here on the AHSAA Game of the Week on WOTM between the B.B. Comer Tigers and the Clark County Bulldogs. We've now got the head coach at Clark County, Stacy Luker, here with us. Coach, glad to have you with us on the AHSAA Weekly.
Thank you, John. I'm glad to be here, man.
Coach, your football team ranked #2 in the final ASWA poll. You come in with a 10-2 record. That probably is even more misleading because you play such a tremendously tough schedule. We start talking about that Highway 43 corridor in Southwest Alabama. You played a tough schedule, and you come out of that with 10 wins. You have got a very good football team. Tell us about this 2021 Clark County Bulldog team.
Yeah, it's been a grind. I mean, anytime you play the bulk of your games down this way, man, you see a lot of good football teams every week. And, we just got a group, John, that's experienced, got 18 seniors, handful of juniors, and a lot of these kids were actually, playing 4A football just 2 years ago as 9th and 10th graders, and we were fortunate enough to drop to 2A. And so, they've been through the test. They have been tested, and we've played some really good teams, and again, man, just experienced and fun to be around. Just a good group to coach.
Coach, tell us about some of the guys that maybe have been real leaders for you this year that folks tuning in around the state might want to pay particular attention to on Friday night.
Man, we got kids like Jerwayne Robinson, plays outside linebacker. You'll see him running the football some, and Jerwayne just plays hard, 3-year starter. Jarian Jackson, we call him Moo Moo, 4-year starter, has been playing some linebacker and running back for us. You see him doing a lot of things. Our leading rusher is Ron Johnson, who's a senior, who's, again, another 3 or 4-year starter. Got 2 or 3 guys along the offensive and defensive line that's played a lot of football. Jamichael Pugh and Ben Shears, who's a senior 3-year starter. So, again, man, that's just to name a few. We've got a lot of guys that have played a lot of football for 3 and 4 years, and sort of hate to see it. Love this time of the year, but I sort of hate to see this group go, they're on the way out. So, for me personally, just the love and respect I have for them, I want to see them be able to end this thing the right way for them.
Coach, best wishes to you and your football team. Safe travels as you make that over 200-mile journey from Grove Hill to Sylacauga. We'll be looking for your football team right here live on the AHSAA Game of the Week on Friday night. Thank you for being with us.
That's great, man. Thank you.
One of the great coaches in high school football in this state, Stacy Luker, head coach of the Clark County Bulldogs, here on the AHSAA Weekly.
Looking for a perfect checking account? Don't waste your time. No minimum balance, no monthly fees, and a convenient app. Now you could try and find that at a bank, or you could save yourself the trouble by checking with us.
2 games on WOTM this week from the state football playoffs. One of those games we'll be bringing you on a delayed process live on the NFHS network will be a Class 2A quarterfinal round game from Legion Stadium in Sylacauga between the B.B. Comer Tigers playing host to the Clark County Bulldogs from Grove Hill. Head coach of the B.B. Comer Tigers, Coach Adam Fawcett, joins us at this time. Coach Fawcett, glad to have you with us here on the AHSAA Weekly.
Hey, appreciate you guys having us.
Coach, your football team, one of the top teams. I have been saying all year long that you're the most underrated team in this state in any classification. You've only got 2 losses. Both of those came to the #1 ranked team in 2A and the #1 ranked team in 3A. You obviously have a very good football team this year.
Yes, sir. We're very proud of where we are, proud of where this program has gone in a short amount of time. And hats off to my players and coaches for working as hard as they've worked and just continuing to get better and continuing to want to get better.
Coach, who are some guys that our statewide audience needs to be looking out for this weekend as Clark County rolls into town? Who've been some of the leaders for you this season?
Definitely Kamor Harris, our tailback, plays linebacker for us. He does an excellent job. He's put up huge numbers this year. Defensively, linebacker John Murphy is doing a great job for us. Also defensively, we've got Corey Anderson and Hagan DeLee on the defensive line. They do a great job for us. Offensively, Chris Wilson is handling things. Zach Carpenter's handling things up front. And honestly, our offensive and defensive fronts have really been the game changers for us this year. Also, with the addition of we found in our roster early in the year that we had a kicker, and he's done an excellent job for us. He's 3 out of 5 on field goals this year. Kicked over 30 extra points for us, and he's been a big game changer for us as well.
Coach, talk about Clark County just a little bit at this point in time. Obviously, they're from far away. It's a team that you have never seen before. B.B. Comer and Clark County have never played. They're from another part of the state. Watching film, your impressions of the Clark County Bulldogs?
Very first thing is they're well coached. Coach Luker does a good job with those guys. They're well coached. They're disciplined. They're a very hard-nosed team, very physical team. They're going to line up in 2 tights and come right at you. And, there's really no secrets about them. This is what they do, and they're going to do it well. So defensively, they've got a couple guys on the defensive front that are tough. It's going to be important for us to maintain blocks and drive kid, stay in contact and try to drive those guys off the ball. So, I've told our guys all week it's going to be a 12-round fight. It's not going to be a simple, hey, we're going to go out and blow this team out type deal. This is quarterfinals football. Every team left in it's really good, and we feel like we deserve to be here, obviously, and we want to give everything we got, not only for our program but for this community and the fans that continue to support us. But we're looking forward to the matchup.
Only 8 teams left in Class 2A in the state of Alabama. Your team is one of those, taking on Clark County at Legion Stadium in Sylacauga on Friday night. Coach Fawcett, thank you for spending time with us here on the AHSAA Weekly.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Adam Fawcett, head coach of the B.B. Comer Tigers.
Every bank has their own app, but it's just that, theirs. At AmFirst, our app was made for you, so you can personalize your dashboard, pay your bills, and redeem points for rewards you'll love. Get the app made for you at AmFirst.
The AHSAA Weekly, presented by America's First Federal Credit Union, continues now with David Holsford's highlights. David Holsford of the Alabama High School Athletic Association putting together state playoff highlights from all around the state of Alabama. So let's jump in and get to it. We begin with Auburn and Enterprise in the 7A quarterfinals. Pick up the game in the first half with the host Tigers leading 14-7. That's when the special teams step up. Auburn blocks this punt, which bounces around and is picked up by Brad Harper, who races 54 yards for the score, making it 21-7. Auburn, the Region 2 runner-up, would go on to win 56-21 to advance. Next, Central Phoenix City and Theodore. We catch this in progress. Central quarterback Caleb Nix faking a handoff, tucking and running 72 yards for one of Central's 11 touchdowns in a game that totaled 118 points overall. Nix, the younger brother of Bo Nix at Auburn, and head coach Patrick Nix, 77-41. Central beats Theodore. 7A quarterfinals in the north. Hoover, Hewitt-Trussville, Thompson, Oak Mountain. This is Hewitt-Trussville starting the scoring at the Met with Cade Caruth finding Omari Kelly for this touchdown connection. The missed extra point that followed turned out to be big in the end. The Bucks would answer with rushing touchdowns coming up first from Sky Niblett, and then we're going to see Ahamari Williams with another short touchdown run for Hoover to take a 14-6 lead for the Bucks. Later, with the Bucks up 14-9, Caruth from Hewitt-Trussville connecting with Matt Miller for a 22-yard catch and run to give the Huskies the lead. The game eventually goes into overtime. We're tied at 17 all, and Hoover senior quarterback Bennett Meredith connects with star receiver R.J. Hamilton, making this spectacular grab for the touchdown, and the Bucks surged ahead 24-17. The Huskies then score on a 5-yard run from James Hammonds to cut the lead to 24-23. Hewitt then decides to go for two and the win. However, the 2-point conversion pass from Caruth tipped by Hoover linebacker Terrell Jones, and Hoover wins 24-23 to advance to the semifinals. The Warriors of Thompson, riding a 9-game playoff winning streak, left no doubt quickly. They start the game. Reserve quarterback Zachary Sims connects deep with Jalen Ward for the score, giving Thompson the 14-0 lead. Leading 14-7 in the second period, Sims finds Ryan Peppins, this time making a sensational over-the-shoulder catch as Thompson wins 45-7 over Oak Mountain. 3A action now. Montgomery Catholic at Bayside Academy. Knights just too strong. Powerful running back Jeremiah Cobb scoring 3 touchdowns, 2 rushing and 1 receiving. Also, quarterback Caleb McCrary fired another TD pass to Justin Rose. This one goes for 16 yards and the touchdown for the Knights. And then Cobb would close out the game, 19 carries, 192 yards. As you're going to see him right now get a big chunk of those 192 yards with this long touchdown run down in Daphne as he outruns the Bayside Academy defense for the long touchdown run. The Knights defense did the rest, notching their 7th shutout of the season, a school record breaking the old mark set by the 1946 and 1947 teams that stood for the last 74 years. Catholic advances to host Hillcrest Evergreen this week in Class 3A. Heading now to Grove Hill, Clark County hosting Ayrton in 2A action. It was a good one from the start. The host Bulldogs, trailing 14-13, took the lead when Pace Young throws a jump ball to receiver Jamarian Johnson for a touchdown and a 20-14 lead. Ayrton storms right back, and right before halftime, their running back Jordan Smith bulls in from the 3-yard line. The only score of the second half came with 4:41 left when Moo Jackson scored from the 1-yard line for Clark County to complete a 99-yard drive and a 27-20 win. Next coming up, we've got Gardendale and Homewood, and this is L.T. Sanders. It's his show, showing here breaking a scoreless tie in the third quarter with a 7-yard touchdown run to give the Rockets the lead. Then it's Kawan Brown powering his way in for a score as Gardendale surged ahead 14-0. We go to the fourth quarter. Homewood quarterback Woods Ray throws an 18-yard strike to Jackson Paris for the touchdown to pull within 7 at 21-14. But on the next play, Adam Parker picks up a fumble for Homewood, and he runs 14 yards for the score to cut the lead to 1 at 21-20. But Gardendale's running game too strong. Sanders finished with 294 yards rushing on 29 carries. And Gardendale advances with a 35-27 win to take on now unbeaten Clay Chalkville in the quarterfinals. Still in 6A, Hueytown traveling to Mobile came away with a big 49-17 win over McGill-Toolen Catholic. Razzle-dazzle here. DeAndre Coleman taking the Wildcat snap and throwing to Michael Hines, who is usually a defensive tackle. And then Earl Woods and company closed their team's 50-point advantage, winning 49 in this one to set up a quarterfinal game with Opelika. Now we stay in Class 6A. Mountain Brook on their way to a 45-14 win over Jackson Olin in this quarterfinal matchup. Spartans were impressive here on offense. John Colvin connecting with Jackson Beatty for one of their 3 touchdown passes. Trailing 17-0, Rashad Sager puts the Mustangs on the board with a scrambling 16-yard touchdown pass to Malik Rowe. We'll see it once again right here. Just a great throw coming from Rashad Sager. You see it right here into really triple coverage for the touchdown. And we close out the game with Colvin to Beatty again, this time 55 yards as Mountain Brook, now 11-1, rolled to the win as Mountain Brook beats Jackson Olin in the quarterfinals 45-14. Central of Clay County next in Class 5A action traveled from Lineville to Mobile for the Class 5A playoff battle. The Rams held on for a 40-33 win. Quarterback Colton Wood passed for 345 yards and 4 touchdowns to lead Faith's win, to connecting with Ty Goodwill, Dorian Smith, and Christian Burnett for touchdown passes. Burnett, who caught an 85-yard touchdown pass, also would score the game-winning touchdown on an 80-yard touchdown run. He finished with 155 yards rushing and 112 receiving and 3 touchdowns as Faith Academy rolls on to take on unbeaten Pike Road next week in the 5A quarters. Pike Road hosting defending 5A state champ St. Paul's Episcopal, the biggest game of Pike Road's modern era. A 9-7 lead for the Patriots. Then Iverson Hooks with a 12-yard run and a 16-7 lead, prompting the light show. St. Paul's would get the lead 17-16, but Pike Road battles back and is leading 22-17, I should say, when Hooks snuffs out the visiting Saints' last chance for the win by coming up big with an interception on defense and taking it back 100 yards for a touchdown. However, an illegal block in the back behind the play at the 9-yard line nullified the score, but Iverson came right back and ran 19 yards for the touchdown when play resumed to seal the 29-17 playoff win. Still in the South in Class 5A, UMS Wright and Greenville in Mobile. UMS takes a 7-0 lead on this run from Cole Blaylock. Then we go to the fourth quarter. Greenville's Laquan Robinson breaks a host of tackles. This is one of the best plays we have seen all year. Watch, takes the screen, completes an 82-yard catch and run, mostly run here, as he broke a lot of tackles to cut the Bulldogs' lead down to 1 at 7-6. One of the better catches and runs we've seen all year in high school football in the state of Alabama. The UMS Wright defense, though, comes up big with a scoop and score on a fumble picked up by Robert Courtney with 3:17 to play to give a 14-6 lead to UMS Wright. Greenville would close to 2 at 14-12, but the defense holds on as UMS advances to the quarterfinals to take on Andalusia with a 14-12 win over the Greenville Tigers. That's David Holsford's highlights from this week. A lot of highlights from playoff action all across the state of Alabama.
Looking for a perfect checking account? Don't waste your time. No minimum balance, no monthly fees, and a convenient app. Now you could try and find that at a bank, or you could save yourself the trouble by checking with us.
The AHSAA Weekly rolls on, presented by America's First Federal Credit Union. Time to take a look at all the brackets for the state football playoffs, 1A through 7A. We will begin in Class 1A. Last week it was Keith and Brantley winning. They will play each other this week at Keith. Brantley, the number 1 team in the state in 1A, and a great matchup also in the South, the other quarterfinal. That is going to feature a game between number 2 Sweetwater playing number 3 Maplesville at Maplesville. In the North, in the third round, Woodland, the Cinderella, had a losing record coming to the state playoffs. They're now in the quarterfinals, a regular season rematch as they travel to Wadley to take on the Bulldogs. And also in the North, it will be Pickens County going to West Morgan High School in Trinity to take on Decatur Heritage. In Class 2A in the South, Clark County and B.B. Comer. We previewed that game earlier, taking place at Legion Stadium in Sylacauga. Also, number 1 Lynette will be on the road taking on another Cinderella team, 7-5, the Flying Squadron of Highland Home. In the 2A North, another rematch from the regular season. Southeastern and Cleveland out of Class 2A Region 6 rematching at Cleveland, and a rematch of last year's North Alabama Championship game, Spring Garden and Mars Hill Bible in Florence on Friday night. As we take a look at 3A South, it will be T.R. Miller of Bruton coming up I-65 to Montgomery to take on Montgomery Academy. Hillcrest Evergreen also makes the journey up 65 as they take on number 1 Montgomery Catholic in Montgomery. In the 3A North, great matchup at Paul Benefield Stadium in 5, Sachs in 5, and then the Winfield Pirates, undefeated, go to the Field of Champions in Piedmont to take on the Piedmont Bulldogs. In the 4A South, huge matchup. This is number 2 versus number 3, American Christian and Viger playing at Pritchard, and defending state champion Hanley. They will be on the road as they travel to Southwest Alabama to take on the Jackson Aggies. In the 4A North, number 1 Madison Academy heads down I-65 to Good Hope. Meanwhile, the Aniana Redskins, they travel to the Quad Cities area to Killen to take on number 5 Brooks. In Class 5A in the South, a huge matchup will take place in Mobile. UMS Wright Prep playing host to 8-4 Andalusia. And number 1, Pike Road, they beat the defending state champion St. Paul's last week. Now they will be on the road also to Mobile to face Faith Academy. In the 5A North, Pleasant Grove and Center Point, an all Jefferson County matchup in this quarterfinal round matchup at Center Point. And another Jefferson County team, A.H. Parker of Birmingham, travels up I-65 to Coleman County to face the Fairview Aggies. And in Class 6A in the South, it will be Saraland traveling to Tuscaloosa to take on Hillcrest Tuscaloosa. Great matchup there in the 6A South. Also, it will be Opelika coming to Hueytown to take on the high-scoring Hueytown Golden Gophers, averaging right at 50 points a game. In the 6A North, Pinson Valley and Mountain Brook, all 4 teams here from Jefferson County. Mountain Brook will be traveling to Pinson to take on defending state champion Pinson Valley, and Gardendale goes to Clay. They will face number 1 ranked Clay Chalkville in the last ASWA poll. And in 7A, this is the semifinals. The winners of these 2 games go to the Super 7, and they're both rematches. Auburn and Central Phoenix City playing at Phoenix City. Phoenix City won the regular season matchup 21-7. And Thompson and Hoover, number 1 versus number 2, playing at Hoover. Hoover won the first time 24-21, a rematch coming up at the Hoover Met in Class 7A action. And finally this week, we want to remind you that we'll have history being made at the AHSAA State Championship games at the Super 7 at Protective Stadium in Birmingham. The first afternoon of championship play will feature the first ever girls flag football state championship, Hewitt Trustful taking on Smith Station.